Okay. Let's unpack this. You flagged an intriguing article about a new Nepali film, Unko Sweater.
Yes.
Our mission here is, well, to really dig into what makes this film stand out based on what this preview is telling us.
Absolutely. And, this article paints a picture of a film set to release around mid to late April next year.
Right. 2082 by Shock 26.
Exactly, in the Nepali calendar. And it seems there are pretty high hopes for it, both commercially and just as like a genuinely enjoyable watch for the new year.
Right. So it's more than just a quick mention then. This piece feels like an early look, giving us insights into the story, the people involved,
Yeah,
and sort of the initial excitement, the buzz around OK Span.
exactly. And at its core, what's immediately striking is the emphasis on a love story
Okay.
between the central characters, Tharanid Har, played by Bipin Karki, and Fool, who is Maruna Magar.
Right.
And what's fascinating here, I think, is the article's focus on how their emotions are communicated through subtle gestures. It suggests, potentially a very nuanced and emotionally rich film. Makes you wonder what those unspoken moments might actually convey.
It does. And this idea of a simple knitted sweater, the lekampered of the title,
Yeah.
being a deep symbol of their affection. The article describes each metaphorical stitch connecting them through tenderness, loss, even desire.
Hmm.
It sounds like this could tap into some really universal feelings for you, the listener.
Hmm.
Why do you think a seemingly ordinary object, like a sweater, can carry so much emotional weight in a story like this?
Well, that's a fantastic question. Often it's precisely the everyday nature of an object that lets it become such a powerful symbol.
Okay.
A handcrafted item like a sweater, it can represent care, intimacy, the time and effort someone's put into a relationship.
Right, the personal touch.
Exactly. It becomes this tangible representation of the connection between two people. And its presence or even its absence in the story, it can speak volumes about where that relationship is at.
Yeah, that makes sense. And beyond the central pair, the film seems to have a really impressive ensemble cast.
It does.
We see names like Pariksha Limbu, Alex Paros, and Wilson Bikram Rai in significant roles.
Hmm.
And then alongside them, seasoned actors like Sunil Pokhrel, Mahate Gurung, Prem Subba, Suraj Tamu, Sharada Devi Silwal, and Bhawana Kapangi Magar. Wow.
Yeah.
That depth of experience across the cast, well, it surely hints at strong performances all around, doesn't it?
It certainly does. A well-rounded cast like that can add so much texture and believability to the story.
Definitely.
It suggests the filmmakers have really paid attention to creating a rich world with compelling characters beyond just the main love story.
And it's produced by Art Manduprelli.
Right. Now, the article doesn't detail their specific style, but knowing the production house can sometimes give you a sense of their general approach, maybe the types of narratives they tend to back.
True. Visually, too, the film is already creating an impression. The recently released poster, it sounds quite evocative. Bipin Karki with a traditional Nepali doko basket and a diary, and Maruna Magar with this gentle smile.
Yeah.
And even the title, Kakakakakake, it has this visual thing going on, stylized to look like knitting or threads. It immediately draws that connection to the central sweater.
That visual consistency, yeah, across the promotional stuff, that's a smart move.
Definitely.
It reinforces the central motif right from the get-go and gives you a clear visual cue about the film's core theme even before you see a single frame.
Now, here's something I found potentially fascinating. Take is the feature film directorial debut of Nabin Chauhan.
Ah, okay.
Interestingly, his background is in directing well-known musical films like Gumi Gumi, Dekara Timale Tipidi, Futondrani, and Chandrama.
Musical films.
So how might his experience in that world, the world of musical storytelling, how might that influence his approach to a film that seems to be primarily a love story? Could we see maybe a particular rhythm or emphasis on emotion that stems from that background?
That's a really insightful observation. Yeah. Director's prior work, it often leaves its imprint, doesn't it?
Sure does.
Even if Noam Kune isn't strictly a musical, Chauhan's experience in crafting narratives that are deeply intertwined with music and rhythm that might influence his pacing, the way he builds emotional arcs,
Yeah.
or even just his use of sound and visual cues to evoke feelings. It raises an interesting question, I think, of how different storytelling modes can kind of inform one another.
Absolutely. And the geographical setting of the film also seems pretty significant. The story apparently spans from Panthar all the way to the West Bengal border in India.
Right.
That kind of geographical range suggests we might encounter diverse landscapes and perhaps even like cultural nuances along the way for these characters.
Absolutely. A journey across different locations like that can often mirror the internal journeys of the characters themselves.
Good point.
And the contrast between, say, Panthar and the West Bengal border could introduce different cultural elements, maybe societal norms, or even challenges that impact the relationship between Dharanidhar and Fool. It adds a layer of potential complexity to their story.
Yeah, definitely more than just a backdrop then.
Seems like it.
There's also considerable buzz, we mentioned it earlier, around the film's commercial prospects. The article mentions an expectation of around 50 crore in business.
Siffy Curry, yeah.
And initial responses have apparently been positive. That level of anticipation, well, it speaks volumes, doesn't it? What factors do you think usually contribute to such high commercial hopes for a film like this?
Well, typically, high commercial expectations like that are driven by a mix of things.
Okay.
A strong cast with popular actors like Bipin Karki and Maruna Magar, that definitely plays a role.
Star power.
Right. Then a compelling and relatable premise, and the focus here on a universal theme like love suggests that also generates interest. And positive early reactions, well, they just fuel that anticipation further, suggesting the film is actually connecting with its initial audiences.
Right. We also get a little peek at some of the key crew members involved.
Yeah.
Feroz Khadka as chief assistant director, Phongso Jabegu as line producer, and Prajwal Baskota as local facilitator. It's just a good reminder, isn't it, of the whole collaborative effort that goes into bringing a film to life.
Indeed. Those roles are absolutely essential in making sure the director's vision gets executed smoothly, efficiently. A strong behind-the-scenes team is just as crucial as the talent you see on screen for a successful film.
No doubt. The article also teases us with some intriguing snippets of dialogue and even a song title.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we have lines like, pressure jada cha taratero biba bucko China, which translates to, there's a lot of pressure, but you are not married yet.
Okay. Social pressure, maybe.
Seems like it. And another one, Uta birone shaka piron, one withering branch pricks.
Interesting. Metaphorical.
Yeah. Plus there's a mention of Eastern Nepali dialect Purbeli Bhasha.
Ah, regional flavor.
The saying, Basi biguti mitohune, stale biguti is tasty, apparently. And a song titled Najar Kokarotile, which means with the saw of sight.
Wow, saw of sight. Intense.
Right. These little fragments, they feel like they could offer some real insight into the film's world, its atmosphere.
They really do. They're like little breadcrumbs, aren't they? Giving us a taste of the film's vibe and potential themes.
Yeah.
The dialogue snippets, they hint at social pressures, maybe some internal conflict. The mention of Eastern Nepali dialect adds that layer of regional authenticity.
Right.
And that saying, Basi biguti mitohuni, stale biguti is tasty. That's particularly interesting. In Nepali culture, that proverb often suggests, things can improve with time. Or maybe there's hidden value in something overlooked.
Oh, okay.
It could hint at a theme of patience, maybe, or finding worth in unexpected places within the story. And the song title, Najarko Karotil, with the saw of sight. I mean, that evokes a really powerful, maybe even painful intensity in how the characters look at each other. Suggests some deep emotional undercurrents there.
Definitely sounds like there's a lot simmering beneath the surface.
Something that way.
Finally, the article touches on this idea that cinema is, well, more than just entertainment. It can carry a message.
Sure.
It mentions that when you're engrossed in something you enjoy, 5 hours can feel like 5 minutes, implying the film is pretty captivating.
Which is always a good sign.
Yeah. And it also makes a subtle point by noting that another film being released on the same day has a different tone and message, which sort of positions it within the current cinematic landscape.
That contrast, with another film released simultaneously, that is a significant point. It suggests that Hairame likely has its own distinct identity.
Right.
And it aims to resonate with audiences in a particular way, perhaps, like we said, by focusing on relatable human emotions and connections.
And the fact that the experience is described as one where time just flies by, that indicates a strong potential for audience engagement, right?
Absolutely. You want people to get lost in the story.
So, wrapping this up then, what does this all mean for you, the listener, having taken this deep dive into the Kahoni preview with us?
Whoa.
We've seen how a seemingly simple image, this knitted sweater, could be the central thread connecting a story, about love and human connection.
Right. Set against that backdrop stretching from eastern Nepal all the way to West Bengal.
Precisely. And when you consider the director's background in musical films, those hints of regional language and cultural nuances,
Yeah,
it suggests a film with potential layers, maybe more than just a straightforward romance.
I think so. And that strong commercial anticipation, the positive early buzz, it further indicates that Mhana could really be a film that captures people's attention.
Okay, so here's where it gets really interesting for you to think about. This mention of another film, a different kind of film, being released on the very same day.
Mm-hmm.
It makes you wonder, doesn't it? In what ways do films released alongside each other reflect the broader cultural conversations happening right then, in that moment, in Nepali society?
That's a great point.
How might the themes, the intended audiences of these different films, how might they tell a story about the cinematic landscape itself and the viewers it's trying to serve?
Yeah, what does the success of one maybe say about the other, or about what audiences are looking for?
Exactly. It's definitely some food for thought as we await the arrival of